let's start with my own presentation for tonight, 5 years and beyond. First of all, I would like to rehash the most important announcements of the night, because there were so many and there's still so much to talk about tomorrow that, while it's tricky to get everything just presentable to you within these few hours we have available today. So a quick rehash. First of all, Lisk SDK 5.1.0 was released today. It will come with, or it comes with massive developer experience improvements like the application bootstrapping, the dashboard and faucet plugins, and a testing framework. And tomorrow there's going to be an introduction into the Lisk SDK by Mitsuaki and a deep dive into the Lisk SDK 5.1.0 by Ishan. And Nazar will develop a blockchain application live on stage, which is a Lisk name service inspired by the Ethereum name service. So make sure to download it to test it out. It's really great. Then next one was Lisk Grant Program, just now announced by Monica. It's development grants to the Lisk community to build a strong ecosystem of blockchain applications. It's 60,000 Swiss francs per grant, milestone-based payout. 60,000 Swiss francs are approximately $66,000. We keep it here in Swiss francs because we're a Swiss-based foundation and it's a regular program going on for at least 1 year. More information, as Monica mentioned, on lisk.com/grant program, and on the 25th of May, we are going to release a blog post about it with more information. Further, in collaboration with DevPost, we are organizing HackOnLisk, our first hackathon ever. So super excited to see how that will go. We will have 6 weeks to build blockchain applications with the Lisk SDK 5.1. So let's see what comes out of that. And a total of $33,000 US in prizes. If you participate, doesn't matter if you win, but if you win even better, you will have a preferential selection for the Lisk Grant Program. So make sure to participate. More information on hackonlisk.com and in a blog post, which we are going to publish on the 25th of May. Thank you also here from my side to the partners we have for organizing HackOnLisk and also for organizing this event tonight. Then, Lisk Mainnet version 3, something we're working on now since a very long time. So you might have not seen the screen check marks because the image of the camera was in the way, but here let me rehash our product readiness. So Lisk SDK is ready, 5.0 is ready since a longer time. We even released 5.1 today, so that's done. Lisk Core is ready as well. Lisk Migrate is something we have not maybe communicated too much because it's only important to the testnet and mainnet delegates, is also ready. We also already successfully tested the testnet migration, so the real migration will be the next step. Lisk Service is ready as well. The Lisk Service 0.3.0 version was released today, so here we are all done for the mainnet version 3 launch as well. The only thing still work in progress is Lisk Desktop, but the beta 3 was released today as well, so we are now in the final beta version, which will not take too long anymore for us to move forward with the plan. The plan being essentially what you see here on the slide. We already got the beta 3, 4, and 5 successfully launched. Everything is stable and works perfectly fine. The testnet migration test was a big success. There was no problem whatsoever. So we are waiting now for Lisk Desktop to get ready for the testnet migration so that we can see if everything is working out there in order to do a mainnet migration test with which we can then proceed forward to the actual mainnet migration. Just to rehash quickly what the mainnet version 3 means, it means, amongst many other things, an updated fee system, which will now be dynamic, an updated address system where you will not need to initialize your addresses anymore, so they're much more secure in that regard, and an updated consensus algorithm, which will make our network more decentralized and more fair again. In terms of dates, well, tomorrow, Rishi has a benchmark talk here at LiskJS Day 2, where he will showcase the performance improvements of Lisk Core 3.0 in contrast to Lisk Core 2.1.6. And with that, we will also follow up with a blog post on the 26th of May, where more information are given about that benchmark we conducted. Also, we will publish more information in general about the testnet and mainnet migration in the blog post on the 1st of June, very likely. This one is more interesting for exchanges and wallet providers because it will have some information which is more relevant to these services. Like Manu mentioned already, testnet migration we think is very feasible to conduct in summer, and the mainnet migration will likely come this fall. So I'm super excited to see that happening. Will be another big milestone for the Lisk project. Then, essentially the main topic of tonight, Lisk Interoperability. All research in regards to our interoperability solution is now completed and conducted, which resulted in 12 core interoperability labs. And they will all be covered in more detail tomorrow again, and then also in the afternoon published on the Lisk Research Forum, which is available on research.lisk.com, in order to go through the lib process, to get your feedback, to get your input. On the 24th of May, we are going to publish an interoperability blog post, which covers the essential features of our interoperability solution, so make sure to not miss that one. And the implementation, like Shu mentioned, will start immediately. So the next step is the requirement gathering and going through the process Manu was talking about. So we are putting a lot of focus on that now in order to get it to you as good and fast as possible. And I mentioned it before, with that, essentially we have all ICO promises fulfilled. So once Lisk Interoperability is implemented, we basically delivered on our promise from back in 2016. What a journey. All right, and because this has been such a tremendous journey for us, I think we're right in the moment where we basically need to take a look at the past 5 years and the future one more time and put it into a nice package for you to understand what was actually our journey. And for that, we're introducing a new roadmap which covers the past and the future. So it's not a new roadmap just for new features or whatever. Jan covered that already with the next research objectives. It is more to give you a better explanation how Lisk as a project has been developed over the past few years and how it will continue. So, at the beginning, it was 2015, at the end of it, in December, Oliver and I, we had a chat about starting Lisk. But we thought, okay, let's wait a bit, let's wait for my birthday, let me turn 24 first, let's wait for New Year's Eve, enjoy that first, and then start with a lot of energy in the new year. And I say you, that was really needed, this energy, because from then on it's been one very intense but super interesting marathon. So in 2016, we began with this incredible journey. And initially we came up with the name Lisk. And we always get this question, where's this name coming from? So the name Lisk is coming from the word obelisk. So initially, when we worked together with a designer on our logo, he developed this obelisk shape, which is more like a crystal. And this crystal received a lot of, like, well, on the one side, criticism in the beginning, but also a lot of love. So there were like two camps. But you see it's blue, and this crystal, it could be like said, it's like a gem. So that's how the community came up with a slogan, Lisk is a gem, and using these diamond emojis always on social media and so on. And I love this idea. We all love it. So we took that as an inspiration for the new roadmap phases we are now going to introduce. So here you have an overview. Per phase, we're using the name of a different gem. There's 6 phases in total. It ranges from quartz to amber, ruby, emerald, sapphire, and last, diamond. And like I said, it's for the past and the future. So in the past, we had the quartz, amber, and ruby phases, which are already concluded, and I'm going into more detail soon. We're currently in the emerald phase, which is, well, concluded from the research side, and it's just waiting from the development side to be concluded with the successful mainnet version 3 launch. Then the Sapphire phase is essentially what we introduced tonight with the Lisk Interoperability solution. So that side is now covered as well. We're in the middle of this phase. So that's now basically our next steps to conclude that one. And then I will give you later a few more information about the so-called diamond phase, which has not begun yet. So let's give you a bit of a deep dive into that path or into that roadmap. So when Oliver and I started with Lisk in 2016, we wanted to launch the mainnet as soon as possible because, well, we did the ICO, we raised 14,000 Bitcoin, and you were, of course, asking us to do that as soon as possible so that you can access your money. And we thought, okay, that's fair, let's do that. So Oliver worked relentlessly on this Lisk Core 0.3.0 release to kickstart the mainnet. So this was essentially our MVP. And with the release of it, the Quartz phase was concluded. This happened on the 24th of May 2016. And then we worked on the so-called Amber phase, which was working towards the first stable version of the network with Lisk Core 1.0.0. And that took until the 16th of August 2019. So quite a bit of time, but it was definitely worth it because afterwards we were finally able to sleep at night. So that was a great effort by Oliver and the team, so that we were then allowed to enter the next phase of our development. Now that the mainnet was stable, we could focus on the developer. And that means we were able to focus on our first big milestone, the Lisk SDK. So during the Ruby phase, we worked towards this Lisk SDK, which peaked then in the release of Lisk SDK 2.0.0. It stemmed from the original Lisk Core repository. That's why the version number starts here with the 2.0.0, and that happened on the 23rd of July 2019. And for the first time, then Lisk Core was actually then also built with the Lisk SDK. After that, around the time of Lisk.js 2019, where we introduced many protocol improvements for the Lisk SDK and also for Lisk Core, we entered then the Emerald phase, where we were working towards implementing these various improvements to make the Lisk network and every other sidechain to be built with the Lisk SDK from the protocol feature set more mature. And that, well, resulted in various Lisk SDK versions, the 3.0, 4.0, and 5.0 version, and as announced today, the 5.1 version as well, with the massive developer experience improvements. And with the latest Lisk SDK, we are then going to build Lisk Core 3.0, pending the successful testnet migration, and then coming the successful mainnet migration. But that will be then the end of the Emerald phase. And like I said, from a research perspective, we are now inside the Sapphire phase, which is all about Lisk interoperability. So this one is now ongoing and will very likely result in a Lisk SDK 6.0. This is always not too sure. We're using semantic versioning, so there could be a breaking change introduced in between, but we assume it's going to be 6.0, and for Lisk Core 4.0. So that's something we're all, I think, really looking forward to, because that's the launch of the Lisk blockchain application platform. And afterwards, to expand into the blockchain industry or into other blockchain ecosystems, Jan already mentioned that, we are working on general blockchain interoperability through so-called Lisk bridges. Here, the work has not begun yet. We're first focusing on the Sapphire phase, one thing at a time. So let me talk to you a little bit about the different phases and why we picked these gems. So Quartz, for the MVP, well, Quartz as a gem, it's said that it brings change and it amplifies effects. And I think that's pretty fitting with Lisk, because we really want to make an impact in this world with our Lisk SDK. And, well, funnily enough, if you're looking at Quartz in nature, its natural shape is that of an obelisk. So we thought it's perfect to symbolize the first phase with the quartz gem. The next one is Amber. So our Amber phase was all working towards stabilizing our code base and network. And Amber is said to bring protective energy. And if you know how Amber is being created, so basically the resin from the tree is hardening over a very long time, like coming into then or becoming an Amber gemstone. You could say the same about Lisk Core, where we worked over quite some time to harden the protocol, the security of the code base further and further. So a perfect fit here as well. The next one is Ruby. Ruby, the stone of love and attraction. And we really, in that phase, focused on, well, creating the SDK and using it from that point on. And we really just hope that it attracts developers into the blockchain industry and that developers will love using our SDK. We are also showing a bit of an oval form here because an oval form in a gem means rebirth. So this fits with the Lisk core for the first time ever being built with the Lisk SDK. Next one is the Emerald, the phase we are currently in. An emerald is said to bring renewed life forces and good health. And well, with the many protocol improvements coming to the Lisk network, I think that fits perfectly. If you know a little bit more about how this Lisk Mainnet version 3 will come about, we were talking about migrations and so on. So we developed a decentralized regenesis tool. So the version 3 blockchain of Lisk will actually start with block 1 again. But don't worry here, it's done in a completely trustless and decentralized way. But it fits again perfectly with the meaning of the Emerald gem, that it stands for a new beginning. After that, you could say the main phase for the Lisk project is the Sapphire phase, where it's all about Lisk interoperability. And Sapphire is said to support you to connect to the universe and that it increases communication. And that just fits with interoperability, where multiple blockchains communicate with each other. Coincidentally, Sapphire also is blue, like Lisk's main color. And if you look closely, the shape is very similar to the current Lisk logo. Yeah, like I said, this is like the main phase for the Lisk project. This will kickstart the blockchain application platform and will realize our initial vision and mission and promise we set out early 2016. And I said it a few times already with that really all ICO promises are delivered. However, for us, it's not the end of the journey, it's actually the beginning. Because with the complete implementation of the Sapphire phase, that's essentially where the real world blockchain applications can come to life and where the real work will begin for us. So that's why we're introducing another phase after that, which is blockchain interoperability, what Jan mentioned before, to reach out into other ecosystems. And the diamond is the hardest material on Earth. So it makes sense to have it as the last gem, but it's also somewhat of a matured and polished form of a gemstone. So this fits perfectly also with our blockchain application platform, which by being in that phase and continuing on, will be matured and polished and in production, hopefully with many Lisk sidechains up and running, but also bridges which connect towards other ecosystems. You could say with that, a new era for Lisk will truly begin with the Sapphire phase, but also with the Diamond phase. We believe at Lisk that interoperability is an essential stepping stone towards reaching mainstream adoption for blockchain technology. So I'm super proud to be part of this journey for the world in the blockchain industry to innovate further and bring blockchain to the masses. As you know, our main goal is to make Lisk and blockchain accessible, and I think this interoperability solution will go a very long way in that. All right, that was me introducing the new roadmap. Next one up is, well, what's the next step for 2021 for the Lisk project? Let me just go through the various points, what's coming next for the Lisk project overall, and give you a little bit of a small story with the first one, which is actually already a bit back. On the 12th of May, we launched our new domain name, lisk.com. And just a few days ago, I was in one of the local restaurants to pick up food. And this restaurant is changing the menu on a weekly basis. So the owner asked me, hey, Max, just give me your email address and I can email you every week the new menu. So I gave him my Lisk email address. The old one still ends with @lisk.io, the former TLD of our website. And he was like uncertain, what's IO, what does it stand for, did I hear it correctly? And it might not be a big deal for technological people like us, but for the mainstream users, they just don't know .io. And this is just a tiny step towards being more accessible, but we have to take every step possible to become, to make Lisk and blockchain technology as accessible as possible. Then tonight we're having our annual flagship event, Lisk.js. Don't forget, there's a second day with much, much more information coming tomorrow. So don't forget to tune in tomorrow as well. It's going to be really a massive day again for us, so really looking forward to tomorrow already. Monica announced the first hackathon we are conducting, HackOnLisk. This will start immediately, basically, and you will be able to check out the rules, can start to apply, and it will run until the 23rd of July. Also, our Lisk Grant Program starts immediately, but obviously you need to prepare quite a few materials for that. But check out our website, there's more information available, and we really hope that we will get great applications coming in. Then the implementation of Lisk Interoperability begins immediately, as mentioned already by Shu. So really looking forward to see how the development team is going to handle that, how they're going to work towards this massive implementation of so many research papers, so many libs. But this will definitely be a big stepping stone for us again towards reaching a completion for what we laid out in 2016. Then, depending on the current COVID-19 regulations, we hope that the Lisk Center Berlin and the Lisk Center Utrecht can open again very soon. In Berlin, it's looking very good. I hope you at home are safe and healthy, but we really look forward to open up the Berlin and Utrecht Lisk centers as soon as possible. Then, another big topic of tonight was the Lisk Mainnet version 3 launch. It will come very likely this fall. So looking forward to bringing all these improvements to our network, which just increase the overall utility of it. Then after that, we are looking forward to more exchange listings again. The thing is that an exchange has to implement quite a bit in order to accept the LSK token. We're not just an ERC20 token based on Ethereum. So they will have to do custom development work. And with the Lisk Mainnet version 3, there's so many changes that also the API changes quite a bit. And then it doesn't make sense for an exchange to support us before and then have to change the entire code base again afterwards. So we have some lined up, and they will get ready for listing Lisk then after the Mainnet version 3 release. And then at the end of this year, in Q4, our annual event, Lisk Updates, basically mini Lisk.js, conducted from our Lisk Center Berlin, happened last year as well. Really looking forward to that. Okay, and there's one more thing I would like to talk about. Essentially, it's about developing our own blockchain applications. So this is a very big step for us because we always dreamed about using our own tools to not only build Lisk Core, but also to build blockchain applications. And this will now start. So these blockchain applications we are going to build will serve as a prime example of and will be important use cases for the Lisk blockchain application platform. Currently, there are a total of 3 blockchain applications planned. The first one you can probably already guess, it's the first bridge to an external ecosystem. But the other 2 were unknown so far, so they will come out of the DeFi space. We think it has a lot of potential for blockchain in general, but that's why also for Lisk. However, we cannot reveal much more. It is pending some legal opinions and more initial research before more stuff can be revealed and before we can talk more about this topic. But it's an exciting change for us. It's going to be really cool to start working on use cases for blockchain tech, to build blockchain applications with the Lisk SDK. We believe that it will bring more knowledge to us in order to improve the SDK further, to improve the documentation further, and so on and so forth.